You know, Ted, I don't know if you think this or not, but the hardest part of the show is the opening because I never know. It's like I always talk downhill.
Yeah,
It's hard to get started, and
it's
it's
there's a lot of pressure.
yeah, it's easier after an hour or so, except for my raw throat. Welcome to Beacon of Speech. What is Beacon of Speech about? It's selling freedom of speech to everyone. If we had a copy of the First Amendment, we would hold it up and show it to you, but there are no cameras here, thankfully. The whole concept of Beacon of Free speech is under constant assault in America today. The problem is that it's coming from two places very hard to fight. From the left, PC madness. From the right, corporations. Fred's punching bag of choice. Wouldn't you say, Ted?
That's
The,
true.
the concept that we're all in this is lost in America. America is supposed to lead by example, not force its will onto other countries. What are limits to freedom of speech? Pure evil. Evil is debatable. Pure evil is absolute. Like it or not, a lot of the Constitution is based on vague Christian principles. There is a God, just unclear over which religious entities have the correct message. I'm Fred Hunt, and across the table from me is Ted Coley. Hello, Ted Coley.
Hello, how are you?
I'm awesome. Awesome.
You get a hairball?
I already have a hairball. I'm like a cat. All right. Usually I have an outline of news I want to talk about. Today, I warned Ted ahead of time, there is no news outline. We're talking about one thing and one thing only in the news. It is marijuana. The reason we're talking about marijuana is on Tuesday was election day here in Ohio. And the good people of Ohio voted yes on issue 2, which means no monopolies in the state written into the Constitution forever and ever. Issue 3 was legalization of marijuana, which got stomped into the dirt. Would you say that's fair?
Oh yeah, yeah. What was it, about 2-1?
Yeah, I think it was 67-33. Now, we're going to go at marijuana on 8 different angles. First of all, why is Beacon of Speech important? Why am I important? Why do I have self-righteousness? Because in order to discuss the marijuana issue, you have to have freedom of speech. Do you think they're talking about marijuana openly in Russia?
No.
No, probably not. Not on the webcast, not on the podcast, not on the radio.
They'll get nothing and like it.
They If you two people are talking about marijuana in Russia, the KGB is coming in and clubbing them in the head and telling them not to talk about marijuana anymore, good or bad. And again, Russia is our other favorite punching bag, or
yeah, no matter what, Russia comes up every time we do this show.
yeah, because there's something about Russia. Maybe there's a premonition that the Russians will come and get me. I forgot to mention our.
No,
other...
did you plan it that way?
No, it's on my mind.
Subconsciously, you are obsessed with Russia.
Somewhere in the grand scheme of things, I am obsessed with Russia, and I have yet to locate that. But
you have yet to locate that.
Thank you, Ted. I forgot to point out our other participant, Empty Chair Joe. Empty Chair Joe, are you in the other room? You coming in here? I don't think Empty Chair Joe's coming in.
He's a silent partner.
He's kind of like that other guy who had a partner in the lawn care business. That they're fighting over who's going to do the work and who's going to be the manager in the lawn care business. But anyhow, marijuana. The reason I bring it up, we're going to probe Ted's mind, and we're not going to get too in depth with him. We don't want to sell him down the river. But Ted used to be the lead singer of the band Wasted Space. Now, if Ted was the lead singer of a rock band, chances are he's a dirty pot smoker. Okay? Now, I don't know that for a fact, but we'll discuss that. Ted Coley, we have to put a disclaimer before we talk about marijuana. We work for a multinational corporation. And if we are tested positive for marijuana, what happens to us?
We get fired.
How fast do we get fired?
Very quickly.
Yes.
As fast as possible.
As ASAP. There will be no doorknob hitting us in the ass. We will be in the parking lot before the test results dry. So, number one, when we we're trying to talk about big picture here, because no matter what Ted did in his youth, and I never smoked marijuana, I don't drink. Everybody knows what a dopey nerd I am. Okay, but it goes back to once they start taking away things, they don't add things. Once they start taking away your freedoms, now people can say, "Oh well, marijuana's never been legal." Well, marijuana, you can grow it in your backyard, and you can, it's not like meth. You know what I mean? Meth would come under pure evil. You can't grow meth in your backyard. You have to, take detergent, and you have to take Drano and mix it together, and then it rots out your teeth and kills you.
That's what's actually in meth?
I don't know. I know it's like cold medicine, Drano, and laundry
Drano
detergent.
is an ingredient?
I think it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's hardcore stuff. It's stuff you don't want to fart around with. And so, marijuana, it's of the earth. You know what I mean? It's not unlike smoking tobacco. Well, people say cigarettes should be outlawed. Well, probably, people have been smoking cigarettes in America for what, 300 years. And America was founded on tobacco. All right? If you really want to get rid of cigarettes, don't get rid of cigarettes. Get rid of...
Was it the Native Americans that introduced us to the joys of tobacco?
Yeah. The poor Native American that we drove out of the country, they introduced us to tobacco. So it's been around for hundreds of years. And the king loved tobacco. But people today, they don't smoke tobacco. They smoke, they smoke tar, they smoke nicotine. Ted is a former smoker. I did not even know that about you. When I started here, I know you were a smoker.
Yeah,
Somebody said, "Oh yeah, Ted smokes."
Yeah, I didn't advertise it. I didn't flaunt
it. Hey, you weren't walking in and blowing smoke
hey,
in the boss's face. I smoke, you losers.
Blowing those smoke rings.
But smoking. I remember there's smoking in Tom and Jerry cartoons. They do the smoke rings and then they blow the arrow through the smoke rings. I mean. This whole thing of tobacco is horrible. Joe is here. Come have a seat.
Tobacco's bad, okay?
Okay, don't smoke tobacco.
Tobacco's bad and pot's good.
Yeah.
Joe is coming in. Joe!
You talking about the what do you call it? The tax levy or whatever that
Yeah, we're talking about the marijuana. And we were just saying that the cigarettes aren't like they were 200 years ago. 200 years ago, it was marijuana. Basically, it was just a rolled up leaf.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have all the additives and all the taste that they have now.
Yep. It's 10 times stronger from back then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because it's all tobacco. Now it's, and it's the same thing with marijuana. Marijuana today is like tobacco was 200 years ago. You just, take the leaf, you roll it up and smoke it.
Smoke it. Have a good time.
And the other disclaimer, yeah, we're going to have a good time. Thanks, Joe. But that's the whole thing. And we have to put the disclaimer on Joe, too. If Joe smokes marijuana, he is terminated from the company. So Joe does not smoke marijuana.
Smoke dope.
Yeah. Before you work here, did you smoke it?
I haven't smoked pot in a long time.
Like since you were a kid, like a high school kid?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
High school, right out of high school. But that was it. It was fun while it lasted. I had to be responsible.
It was fun while it lasted. Now you're responsible.
Yeah,
That's
I have
awesome.
to be a responsible adult, not do anything.
Now I'm looking at the feed. You might want to sit next to Ted because your voice is coming real low because we don't have a headset for you. You don't have to sit on Ted's lap. That's a different show.
No?
Oh, I got to tell you a funny story. Do you have time for a funny story?
Yeah.
We go to a customer, and you know who it is. The last three digits of 066, right?
Yeah.
And I was telling Carl that the gentleman receptionist is not straight, right?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, the receptionist was saying how you're always giving him a hard time. And then I laughed because he said he gives you a hard time. He goes, man, that's not funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, so he is... he's not amused by my shenanigans.
That guy's a trip.
Yeah, he's a trip of something.
Yeah.
See this right here? See, I got a box in my hand. he's about as smart as that box of trinkets right there. Talking
Yeah.
about Indian trinkets right there.
That's funny.
But so anyhow, we were talking about marijuana, and my whole thing is it might as well be legal. It's no worse than alcohol.
Yeah, but you see how they did it though. They did have only certain people that could supply it and dispense it, and only certain areas where you could grow it. So it's like it's just another plan for the rich to get richer.
Well, I agree that it's a plan for the rich to get richer. Don't get me wrong. My whole thing is that, and this is one of my predictions for the day. Let me see if I can find my predictions. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Every week, Joe, we do, because you're an empty chair.
Yeah.
Every week we do 3 predictions, right? And my prediction is marijuana will not be back on the ballot due to passage of issue 2, which is the anti-monopoly thing.
Yeah.
And my whole principle is, and me and you are going to argue about this in a second, with the exception of a few libertarians, which I consider myself one, I am closest to libertarian than the other two, no one is going to legalize pot based on principle.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to legalize pot based on it's stupid that it's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys, you know how much money those guys spent thinking that they were going to have their own pot farms?
Oh yeah.
They're not going to do it out of the kindness of their heart saying, everybody can do it. Everybody can get high. Everybody. They only did it. They spent $2 million to make $100 million.
Yeah.
And so when they set up the monopoly, they took the table, and me and Ted talk all the time about slanting the table.
Yeah.
They slanted the table, so they sell the pot, they make the money. Probably none of them smoke pot, but the only reason they wanted to legalize it was to make money off of it.
Exactly.
And so now I don't think it's going to be back next year, but you think it is going to be back. You think that they're going to find a loophole.
I don't know. Lost by so many votes. Who knows? I don't know. They might wait a year or two to put it back on.
You think they might wait a year or two?
Yeah, look how badly it failed.
Oh
These
yeah,
2
it got
years.
crushed.
Now, did you vote, Joe?
Yeah, I voted for it. I don't care.
I voted for it. Yeah, did you vote for it? You
I
voted
actu-
no.
I actually voted against it because of the monopoly.
Yeah. And like I said, and Ted, you are 100% right. You are setting up a monopoly, right? And you shouldn't write a monopoly into the Constitution. All the people who were against it were right. But it's just like gambling. Sooner or later, gambling was coming to Ohio. They set it up, when they set up the Dan Gilbert's gambling monopoly, they only had, 4 casinos? And then they said they were only allowed to have 8 in the state. Was that the final? Well, they set it up not because they thought people should be able to gamble. They did it because these 4 guys poured a crap load of money. And
Paying
they're
off
like,
the right people.
yeah, I almost said suck the right D, right? But that's what they did in order to get gambling passed. And based on the principle of why go to Pennsylvania, why go to Michigan, why go to West Virginia when you can just gamble here.
Yeah.
But they set up a monopoly for gambling.
So, hey, Mr. Senator, here's a big, huge donation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it all goes back to money. But there are no politicians that are running on pass legalized marijuana. I mean, there's small ones, like mom and pop libertarians, probably some communists.
Yeah.
Now, what I was going to ask you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but Colorado, do you know if they have a monopoly there?
I don't think they do, because when I heard whether to vote for 2 and 3, they had some guy on there, and they're like, you don't want to pass legalize marijuana like in Colorado, where it's like the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
You can grow it, you can sell it, they said it's flooding into the neighborhood states. They said it's not working the way they should, because they all thought, hey, we're in Colorado, we're responsible. We don't.
Are there like little kids with marijuana stands on the side of the road
Some-
instead of lemonade?
Some
No.
gummy bears and
Oh, no,
fucking brownies.
Did you hear about the gummy bears and the brownies though? That was one of the things they ran against.
I've seen the commercial.
Yeah,
I
they
just
said, do you
laughed.
want your
Do you
little
want your
kid
kids
getting
having
poisoned?
gummy bears and brownies? I'm like, come on. Really?
Yeah.
Well, when I was 12, I was stealing my dad's beers, but that was okay.
Yeah.
I could drink a 12-pack. That's fine. But don't smoke a joint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not saying doing heroin or meth or anything. Those are hardcore drugs, but
What's wrong with those? That's a good time
that is the opinion of Joe Kaufman. He says that he legalized everything.
That's right.
We're
Yeah,
going to
one-
Joe's house to party.
One big party.
But did you? But so you voted, I voted, we all voted, and
What about for the what is it for the cigarettes? Did you vote for that?
the cigarettes?
Yeah, the Cintas, or whatever it was.
Syntax, yeah, the-
Syntax.
Oh, I didn't have
Increase
syntax.
it for another 10 years.
Oh yeah, because you're not.
I'm,
That's
I'm
out of
Cuyahoga.
the county.
you're Lorraine.
I'm in Lorraine County. I ain't paying no syntaxes.
Yeah.
They renewed it for another 10 years.
Yeah, I voted against that.
I voted against it too, because you see where it's all going to?
Yeah.
No,
Going
what
to
is
the-
it going
the
to? Because I
arts.
don't know. Because I'm out of the county.
The arts. But guess who's getting the majority of the money?
Probably Dan Gilbert.
Yeah, me too.
The same guy who passed the gambling.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum,
Uh-huh.
Playhouse Square, the orchestra, and some other big corporation is
Uh-huh.
getting the majority of that money. Like they need that money.
Well, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's great. So
Well, now I got another question because I didn't realize because I'm out of
and
the
then you
county.
can't smoke anywhere.
Yeah, you should be able to smoke while you're looking at the art. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
While you're walking into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you should be able to smoke.
I agree. My basic principle is if they take cigarette money, then they should allow cigarette smoking.
Yeah.
And like a restaurant, say you go to Applebee's. You know, we talked about Applebee's a couple weeks ago. Applebee's doesn't get money from the government, so you don't get to smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple as pie.
Yeah,
Easy.
it's so hypocritical.
When I'm paying for you to be open or to pay your salaries, and then you tell me I can't even smoke
Mhm.
outside the door, outside,
Yeah.
on the sidewalk,
Yeah.
or on the step by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you gotta go out by the street.
But my question to you is, and now you would know this, and I wouldn't know this. I don't know if Ted would know this. I don't smoke anything, okay? But don't you smoke those e-vapor cigarettes?
No fun. You don't do anything, do you?
No, I'm a big. I said I'm a big geeky loser.
Oh God.
Why do you think I do? Why do you think I do webcasts? Because I don't do anything fun.
Hey,
I should
something to do, right?
I should be doing hookers and blow right now, but instead,
Yeah.
I'm doing a webcast.
Bring them on.
But seriously, are they going to tax the e-cigarettes?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Because
It's a
if
good
it's
question.
if it's a sin tax and it's on cigarettes, or is it on, again, back to the tobacco argument, is it only on
Is it
tobacco
all
products?
tobacco products? It is a tobacco product,
Yeah.
right? It does have nicotine in it.
Well, that's the other thing that I read about, and you were my, apparently you're my resident degenerate.
Yeah,
Right?
thanks.
Don't they have powdered caffeine? And then all
They
those...
used to. I think they outlawed most of it because some idiot mixed it with too much booze
Uh-huh.
and he died.
Oh, so because one guy died because he was a dope, they
Yeah.
banned it?
Because he drank too much, and then he said, well, he would have just passed out if he didn't have caffeine, since he had that powdered caffeine and mixed it with his vodka or whatever. It made him stay up and drink too much, and he had alcohol poisoning and died. So it wasn't him drinking too much. It wasn't the alcohol problem. It wasn't all the vodka he drank. Oh, don't ban that. It was the fucking powdered caffeine.
Well, because if you have powdered caffeine, can they tax that? But if they banned it, I guess it doesn't matter either.
Assuming they'd have to, right?
I would assume they'd have to tax it. But if they banned it, I guess it's a moot point, right?
I thought they banned it. I'm not sure.
I think you might be right.
I think you might be right too, because I think it wasn't an adult who did it. I think it was like a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who it goes back to the principle: how does 16-year-old kid get a whole thing of vodka to mix caffeine into?
The 16-year-old kid should have some common sense, though. When I was 16, I knew not to drink that much.
Yeah, when you were 16,
I'm
you knew
still
not to.
here.
Survival of the fittest.
One of my favorite stories from Minnesota is I had a friend and he drank a ton of vodka, right? And he was drinking, I don't know what kind of vodka it was. It was white clear vodka and it had some big Russian dog on the front.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of vodka that is?
I don't know.
But he was out of vodka and we're at his house, right? And he goes, Fred, go get me another gallon of vodka. I'm like, do I look like your bitch? He goes, don't be an ass, just give me another vodka, right? So I said, he goes, it's in the cabinet in the kitchen. And I said, well, what cabinet? You got cabinets all through the kitchen. So I walk in the kitchen, and we're sniping at each other, and I open up the cabinet, and there's 2 gallons of vodka, 1 gallon here, 1 gallon here. I said, oh, I found it, and he started laughing. And I said, what are you laughing about? I'm lucky I found it on my first try. He goes, open up the cabinet next to it. Open it up, 2 more gallons of vodka. He goes, open the next one. Open it up, 2 more gallons. He had 13 gallons of vodka in cabinets in his kitchen. And he goes, you can't go wrong because I make sure that the cabinets are always filled.
That's funny. You must have liked to drink, huh?
Oh yeah, he's like,
Vodka.
and he wasn't like 16. He was like 23, 25 years old.
Yeah.
But at the time he worked at Taco Bell. That might have explained it.
Yeah. We got caught once with a bottle of vodka. I don't know how old we are. We were teenagers. And my mom demanded it. So what we did was poured it out into like another jug of vodka. And then we just filled it up with water. Because my mom didn't know any better. She doesn't drink. She doesn't do anything. She's like, yo.
Me and Joe's mom are alike.
So we filled it up with a bottle. We just filled it up with plain old tap water and gave it to her. Like, there you go.
Was she? So she did not.
No, she didn't know the difference. She just took it and she dumped it out. She thought it
That's
was vodka.
awesome. That's awesome that your mom dumped out tap water.
Mm-hmm.
And see, now you take care of your mom.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a heartwarming story. It's the circle of life.
Mm-hmm. She used to take all my stuff, and now I got to take care of her.
That'd be funny if you had to take away her stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That'd been funny if they passed the marijuana thing, and then you're like, oh, sorry, Mom, no marijuana for you.
No more pot for you, Ma. I'd like to see her once. Smoke pot.
What about you, Ted? Did you drink a lot when you were a kid, or no?
Yeah, we drank. Yeah.
Well, again, you were in the band. That's why I assume that the party started as soon as the set was over.
Yeah, I tried not to drink when we were actually playing. I wish I could say the same as some of the other guys.
No,
It didn't turn out too good when they started.
Oh,
drinking.
yeah, the bass player, man. It's like he would drink and then he'd forget what he was playing.
Just start playing any random thing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You're not like David Lee Roth. You get nice and buzzed, and then you sing better. You're strutting around,
Well,
opening up your shirt.
one or two would probably help, but,
That's why I had to quit softball.
Why? Why'd you quit softball for?
Because we were all alcoholics, so we'd go to the bar beforehand that was sponsoring us, and we would just get shit-faced. We would just get plowed. And then we would go, and then we would have them, like, serious, like, softball players on our team that they thought they were, like, professional baseball players.
Uh-huh.
And they would get mad because we're all half in the bag, so are they, and we were getting pounded, like, 20-0. We're getting our ass kicked, and, like, 3 people on our team that took it so serious, they started yelling at everybody, like, ah! Started screaming and yelling at him, don't you know how to play, blah, you guys suck, blah. Like, dude, we're half in the bag, we're stumbling over our own feet, and you're expecting us to play, like, all-stars? I'm like, bunch of idiots. So that's why I quit. I'm like, I can't take you guys anymore.
Yeah, but you played on the company softball team. You were
that was
awesome.
different, though. I didn't have a softball full of alcoholics.
We had a few alcoholics,
Yeah, a few's fine.
but we didn't.
That was counting me.
But you were fine. I'll tell you what. And here's the problem with the company softball team. Okay, and now you can argue and you could say the problem was me. Okay, because I was the coach,
Were you
right?
the coach?
Yes.
I don't even remember that.
Thanks.
That's why we didn't have any practices, huh?
We had a few practices, but here is the problem. Here's the problem in a nutshell, okay? I took people at their words, okay?
Yeah.
Some people said, I haven't played softball since I was 19. And then we would practice, and they'd look like they hadn't played softball since they were 19, but I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
We had one guy, and his name was Sarah's husband, okay? He's not going to listen to the webcast. We'd be at practice. He would catch grounders. He'd backhand. He'd dive. He'd do everything. He would hit home runs in practice.
Oh, yeah.
And then he would show up to games, and he would hit grounders to the pitcher.
Oh, yeah.
And he'd be like, oh, well, I probably should have drank so much before the game. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have. Our ringers were horrible.
Yeah.
And like I said, you were one of the ringers. What I
sucked.
What I saw in practice is what I saw in the game, which is fine. And the same thing with Ted, and the same thing with me. You guys knew what you were getting from me from practice. Same thing here. But, you'd get, who was another a duffer that we had? Nick.
Oh, yeah.
Nick was like, oh, I played third base on the church softball team,
He
right?
was horrible.
Not only was he horrible.
He should have drank before he played. It would have made him better.
Not only was he horrible, But he said something that I had never seen as an adult. Now, when I was a kid, I'd seen lots of weird
What, did he
things.
strike out?
No. He said I was third baseman on the softball team, right?
Yeah.
For the church league, and I'm like, he's not doing very good on practice, but maybe he's rusty. First game we put him at third base, they hit a ball to him, and he screamed. He went, ah!
Do you really?
Yeah, like he was scared. And I looked at him because I was playing second. I'm like, please tell me he didn't just scream, right? And
Oh
we're not
my
talking
God,
about
how
kids.
How did the other team did not just laugh at him?
Well, and that's the whole thing. After that game, he goes, Fred, I might have to play in our position. I'm like, we don't have another third baseman.
Yeah.
And he's like, how about if I play catcher? I'm like, we got 4 catchers. Yeah. You'd only have so many. But when he screamed, I'm like, oh, he was just like Sarah's husband.
Hilarious. Too bad nobody was taping it.
Well, they should have. You didn't hear him scream?
No, I don't even remember half the times.
Well, yeah, because you guys were drinking.
Yeah.
But again, I remember when, and the whole thing is, when I was up in Minnesota, I coached a team, and we were 0-10. Okay, they said, Fred, will you play? They disbanded, and I took the pieces of the 0-10 team, and I put the team back together, right? And we were average. We were like 5-5, 4-6. But I learned that the more they drank, the better that team was. I mean, we would go to practice and they would suck.
Yeah.
And then we'd go to the game and they were. I had a first baseman who kept a beer in one of those cozies, and he would leave it by first base. He would take drinks.
Take it out with you.
Yeah, so
of course, because what are you gonna else do out in the field?
Yeah, so
stand there and wait.
Yeah, so I played with hardcore alcoholics in Minnesota, and I'm like, that's how they got through the games.
Yeah, that's how we did it.
And so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not like
we sucked. We were never good. Even if we weren't sober, we sucked.
Yeah,
That's why
but
I
we
just laughed when that guy got all mad.
But the company team was horrible. But now I'm in my 40s. It's too late for me. You can still play
I'm
softball.
not playing soft. I hate soft. Especially Brook Park, where you can't even drink in a dugout or have any beer anymore. So who knows? The old drunk mayor's back in, so
The old
Oh,
drunk man.
coin.
yeah. So
Well,
who knows? Maybe we'll be able to drink.
We have to set this up, Ted, because me and you know the story. Joe knows the story. But I don't know if the average listener knows the story. Mayor Coyne, he was a mayor of Brook Park in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And we had the Ford factory there, and the guy was an alcoholic. And he basically drank his whole term away. But we didn't even need a mayor. I shouldn't say we. You didn't even need a mayor. Because the city, all Ford did was just funnel all their money into Brook Park.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do any work.
No, they made like $20 million a year off of that.
Yeah, $20 million a year in taxes.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have to be a real mayor. He just had to, hey, shake hands and kiss babies.
Yeah, and somewhat come up with a budget.
Come up with a little bit of a budget. But one day he ended up on Fox 8 News. He got so drunk, his pants.
He was naked in
He was-
somebody's driveway in North Homestead.
He was naked in someone's driveway in North Olmsted in the morning, and they called the cops.
Yeah.
And they're like, "That's Mayor Coyne," and then he had to go to rehab. But then he did other odd jobs. But then he's like, "I'm gonna bring, the glory days back to Brook Park."
Yeah.
But then Ford was gone. He didn't have $20 million just funneling in. Now he's having problems.
Now
And
he really has a reason to drink.
yeah. It should have been the other way. He should have been trying to build Brook Park then, and now he should have been drinking because he's got no revenue streams.
I had a laugh the other day. They had something at the city for the kids for Halloween.
Uh-huh.
And he comes pulling up in his brand new Jaguar. And it comes out with his track suit on. I'm like, oh yeah, so the city has no money, but you can afford a brand new Jaguar. So it must be nice.
Yeah, no offense, but how much does a mayor of Brook Park make? I thought they made like $75,000. It's not like you're mayor.
Well,
of
you
Cleveland.
got to figure he was mayor for like 20 or more years.
Yeah.
So he gets paid from that.
Oh, and then all the kickbacks from the first go around.
Yeah, and
Allegedly.
whatever other government jobs he had after that, because he worked for different other cities, so he probably gets a pension from them. And then he's going to get a double pension because he got reelected for mayor, so now he's double dipping. So
Oh,
dude,
I forgot he
this
was
guy has
double
money.
dipping. Okay.
I think the mayor of Brook Park makes like 100, in between 120 and 140 a year.
So basically, he's one of those public officials who's got the whole scam of I'm getting money from here, getting money
Mhm.
from there. Why would I retire when he doesn't really work anyhow?
Yeah, his job is trying to just be, a government worker.
We're all going to tighten the belts. And when I say we all, I mean you all.
Yeah, and then we're going to raise taxes so I can get a bigger paycheck.
Well, it's funny because I live out of county. I live in Lorain County. But Ted's city has actually got the highest tax rate in all of Ohio, correct?
Yeah, the highest or the second highest.
Really?
Yeah.
I told them they need to fix those roads out there.
Oh, I know, they're terrible.
What are you doing with all their money?
I don't
They
know.
they don't have any revenue streams either because they built that they built the shopping mall on top of a dump,
Oh,
and then there were a
yeah.
bunch of problems, and that place
Gas
just
leakage.
leaked money. Yeah.
I remember there was a whole bunch of shops that just moved in, and then they had a bunch of gas leakage, from the garbage leaking up, and they had to close everything.
Yeah. It's like, boy, couldn't see that coming.
Yeah. You mean we built some on top of it? We're gonna have gas fumes coming up from the garbage?
Yeah. So, but the whole reason to vote for marijuana, to circle back around, it was all about money. It wasn't about the. It
The right
wasn't.
to smoke pot.
Yeah, we're gonna smoke pot. The state will get pot. These guys will get rich. The state will get money. It was just a big cash grab all the way around.
Yeah, because they didn't even start off with like miracle marijuana. They just like, bam, here it is.
Yeah, and we were talking about it. Nobody wants kids to get cancer. Okay,
Yeah.
nobody does. But I heard one ad. They said, "Oh, the kids need the medical marijuana because of their cancer."
Yeah.
How many kids need medical marijuana for cancer? Maybe 12, 15 in the whole state?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about that many kids. And people don't care about the next city over's kids. They just don't.
Yeah.
I care about your kids, and if Ted had kids, I would care about his kids. But
So
you know,
My theoretical kids.
your hypothetical kids.
But all it is just another big corporation just to get money.
Yeah.
To get a paycheck, another paycheck, like I said, for the rich.
Instead of working here, you could have been manager of the marijuana store. Would you have done that?
Or maybe we just buy a big, huge field and start growing it, right?
Oh no, we're not in the monopoly. They're not into us
Oh,
making
who
money.
cares? I don't care. I'll be like a bootlegger, right?
Well, they said that's another thing. They said bootleggers are all over Colorado.
Yeah. Why
And-
wouldn't you? Because then you could probably sell for half the price. 'Cause
Yeah.
You would go to those shops, are probably outrageous amounts, outrageous amount of money to buy it.
Maybe you could just grow it here.
There you
and
go.
then if somebody finds out, just say, I didn't know about
I don't
it."
know who did it. We got a whole back field, right?
Yeah.
Behind the building.
Yeah, we got the building is covered.
There
Oh,
you
we
go.
could be like Carl and just say, I thought it passed, so I started growing
Hey,
it.
you could just say, I think it was like, 4 plants a piece you could have?
You could have up to 4 plants
You
in
know
the
how many
past,
people
yeah.
work here? We go grow a whole garden, man. Just say everyone had 4. Hey, this guy had 4, this guy had 4.
We
Right?
You can blame it on the guy down the hall.
yeah, exactly. We are all about revenue streams. Well, that's the thing.
We could turn it into a green room back there, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Now we're thinking.
Outside the box, think outside the box.
No, our company's slogan is "Think inside the box." And Joe's laughing. The mic's not on him. Okay, the mic's not on him. But that really is our company slogan: is "Think inside the box," which is horrible. But the marijuana, again, I lost my train of thought when Joe left. But the whole thing is, even if we grew our own, in here, if it passed, the law wouldn't have included us. We would have been arrested because we weren't in the monopoly.
Now, as part of that, were private people going to be able to grow like a small amount?
Private people were allowed to have 4 plants.
4 plants?
4 plants. Or 3 ounces.
Okay.
But think back to your band days, a bag is like an ounce. So it's like 3 big bags.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, I'm not an expert, but my understanding is it's a lot of pot.
Yeah.
So they weren't talking about 1 or 3 joints.
What's a lot of pot?
Is 3 ounces of pot a lot of pot?
I mean, for one person it is. But, I mean, you can always have more.
Okay,
There's never enough, you know?
okay, Snoop Dogg.
Right? I remember my buddy, he got busted. I think he's in jail now. He came back from, I don't know, somewhere, Arizona or whatever, and they loaded up a whole U-Haul truck.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, who do you even know to fill up a whole U-Haul truck full of pot? I'm like, I don't even know anybody to buy pot. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. That's crazy. He got pulled over and he got busted.
Wow.
Whole U-Haul
That's so
full
sad.
of dope. Well, his fault for doing it.
Do you know
Well-
how much time you got?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to him. I haven't seen him in like
You don't go to the jail and
10
visit him?
years. I don't even know. I don't even know what jail he's at. Or if he's in jail. Maybe he read it on somebody and got out.
See, we talked about this in an earlier episode, but I don't know that many people in jail, but the people I do are in for murder, so that's why.
That's pretty serious. I don't know anybody in jail for murder.
Well, I'm
I don't
not.
even know that. I don't think I know anybody that's in jail.
No, they're just acquaintances. They weren't like friends. They're not like people
Well,
I
you
would
live in
visit.
Minnesota. You Minnesota people are crazy.
The Minnesota people are crazy.
Right? The Fargo crap?
Yes, we lived Fargo when we were up there because I lived up in Mankato, so that's a small town on the Iowa-Minnesota border. I live up in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I learned how to do this. I had a friend who was a pirate radio guy,
And how to do what? Murder people?
no, he didn't murder people. He was a pirate radio
Yeah.
broadcaster. As a matter of fact, he still is now. I'd give him a plug, but he probably doesn't want me to.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh no, then they could find me. They could track me down. The feds are looking for an excuse." Joe's shaking his head. He's ready.
Didn't you say your signal on your pirate radio station was like 500 yards or something?
Yeah. Well, that's what pissed me off. He was awesome, and I was friends with him. But the pirate radio signal, he goes, if you put up this size antenna, it'll go 1 mile, which will go past. And again, I was like 22, 23 years old. And he goes, it'll go to, no, I take that back, closer to 24, 25. But he goes, it'll go by the college. People will hear it. It'll go by this apartment complex, right?
Yeah.
I said, okay. And so I did it, and the signal went 500 yards. It literally went to 10 houses. And
That's
he's
it?
like, was it?
That's it?
Yeah. And he goes, I don't know. It should go farther. And I'm like, yeah, I know it should go farther. We went to Radio Shack. We built the transmitter. We built the antenna. And you said it would go 1 mile. It went 500 yards. And he's like, well, maybe. And then I think the problem was he was doing, now that he's doing his own station, and we don't talk about drugs, me and him.
Yeah.
But even though I still talk to him, I'm pretty sure that he's on whatever drug rots out your brain when you're at a rave.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what is that? Just gasoline mixed with pipe cleaner? Or what?
Something like that, Drano?
Yeah, I mean, he's literally doing whatever the kids in the middle of the country are doing.
That's awesome.
Gasoline and lighter fluid or
What do they call
whatever.
that? Crocodile? You see that?
Crocodile, yeah, he might be doing
Crocodile?
crocodile.
Crazy fuckers out there.
Yeah, you don't.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh, yeah, basically it's.
But I mean, you're buying something from Radio Shack, so how far did you expect that to go, though?
Radio Shack, what are you talking about? You could build anything at Radio
Oh,
Shack.
yeah, what, a remote control car? Buy some rechargeable batteries?
We did Radio Shack all the time. Like I said, he soldered the crap out of a little transmitter, and he used to say, if the apocalypse came, you could build your own transmitter, and he did it.
And what are you going to do with that? Broadcast
Help!
to 10
Help!
people?
Help!
Help me?
Yeah,
Bring me supplies so I don't have to go out and find it by myself?
yeah, I don't know. You would
Come
think.
save me?
You know, now thinking back, if the apocalypse did come and I did have a transmitter and I'm like, help, 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 good people aren't going to come save me.
No,
They're probably
it's-
going to come rape me.
Yeah, I
and
just picture you yelling help and everybody running away.
You know, it was me and I hear you on the radio. I'm like, yeah, where you at? I'd just come and rob you.
yeah, rob me, take my food, take my
Yeah.
water.
See if you had any water or anything I could use.
Like that movie, This Is the End.
No, I don't know if I've seen that.
Oh, you saw it. It's got Seth Rogen.
Oh.
The end of the world
Oh,
comes.
yeah, I hated that movie. I just like that one dude that was in it from Eastbound and Down.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
That dude is hilarious.
I like when Emma Watson came from next door and they were talking about rape, and then she like beat the crap out of them and left, took their
Yeah.
food.
I like the beginning too with that one guy doing all that coke, that one geeky
dorky guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. The real skinny one.
Yeah,
Wasn't it McLovin or something?
something like that.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
But yeah, so that was awesome. And that's why I'm like, now I probably say the Christ comes back and then the rapture comes and everybody's screwed. I don't think I'd do too good if I was one of the ones that was left behind.
No, I don't see you lasting too long.
No, you would last long.
I don't know.
Ted, you would probably last a while in your house. You've probably got in your secret basement compartments in your house.
Well, it's like Armageddon over there anyway.
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
already
that's true.
had practice.
You got all your Teflon bulletproof vest and helmet and car.
When the apocalypse comes, they're not too worried about Ted's neighborhood.
That's the only neighborhood that's going to be left.
I already,
Pembroke Park.
I already sit in my house with a chair wedged up against the door.
Poor
Pembroke
Ted.
Park's no better. Circle K down the street got robbed like 5 times in 1 week.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
I thought
And
that.
it's right. You know, what's funny part is it's right next to the police station. Well, not right next, but it's like you got Circle K and then like another 100, 200 yards of the police station.
Are you saying that the cops are not doing a diligent job right by the place?
No, it's good old Mayor Coyne. He laid like 20 police officers off, so now you have no police officers.
Yeah. Why do you need police officers for?
Yeah. What do you need? What do you need? You need 3 fire stations. You don't need 3 fire stations in one city.
The city's gonna regulate itself.
Yeah.
Just
got
be
a
good.
hose? What's wrong with you?
That's what you need. That's what you need BB guns for, the high-powered ones.
Yeah.
Did we even solve the marijuana problem?
I don't think so. We got sidetracked.
Did we agree to disagree?
Yeah, it is what it is. What are we gonna do about it?
Oh, thank you.
Right?
Well, that's true. Okay,
Maybe they'll change it in a couple years and put it on a ballot. And
well, let me write this down because I've been tracking whether I've been doing this right or not. So I'm writing this down. Predictions. Okay, I put there. It will not be on next year's ballot. You think it's going to be on next year's ballot, Ted? Ted says.
I say in 2 years.
Oh, now I'm going to have to fill out a new sheet of paper. 2 years. Okay, we'll go with that. What about you, Joe? Do you think it's going to be back on the ballot next year?
there's just way too much money to make off of it.
Too
so
much money.
I think it will be.
Joe K says yes. So we all are agreeing to disagree. Says yes. Too much money to be made.
You said it will not be on the
No,
ballot?
I don't think it'll be on the ballot because
But-
I don't think that they have the right intentions.
Then
And-
you got Ohio. Ohio is like part of the, what do they call it, the Bible Belt.
Are we part of the Bible Belt?
I believe so, like Cincinnati. and
Oh
all
yeah,
that.
Cincinnati, not us.
I mean, well, it's still
I always
part
think of Columbus South as the Bible Belt
Yeah,
because when we used to go to OU for Halloween.
you see the big signs.
Oh yeah,
On
and then
71.
you'd see the crosses on 77, the triple crosses, and
I like the big sign that says "Hell is real."
yeah, in Garfield. I'm playing back in 10.
Garfield's not that bad, is it?
No, it's
No, it's not. I just pick on Ted because my grandmother, she's buried in at Calvary,
Calvary, yeah.
and Calvary's the Cleveland Garfield border. And when I used to do the route there, the Garfield side, there's actually some brand new houses on the Calvary side, right? And they're nice. They're nice looking houses. But if you go on the Calvary side of Cleveland by Lee,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you might as well have a small tank. I mean, and we're only talking about a half a mile away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I remember going to Calvary when I was a little kid with my grandparents, and my grandmother was like so scared she wouldn't go unless my grandfather would take us. Well, he doesn't want to go see his in-laws' graves. He's like,
Yeah.
oh, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and that's one other novelty is that my grandfathers at the beginning of the year they're both still alive. Neither one of your grandfathers, they both been dead for a long time, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
My one died when I was like 6 months old, and my other grandpa died in like '89 or something.
Yeah. So I just talked to my grandfather on Sunday.
The women in my family live longer. Like my grandma's just passed away not too long ago.
So-
09 or something.
So what you're saying is that the women live old and then they put the men in the grave and on the
Oh, yeah.
coffin side.
Yeah, about 60. The men die off.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, so. you
Yeah,
know,
it's like my grandfather's.
25 more years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The women drive them crazy. They just keel over and die. Can't take it
That
anymore.
that is the expressed written. That is Joe's opinion. We do not hate women. We love women, right,
Of
Ted?
course I hated
right.
women. They can just drive you crazy. That's why I look up and say, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad, for all the genes. Thanks, Dad, for leaving me with Mom.
That's what. Yeah, thanks,
Is that
Dad,
what
for
you
leaving
say?
me with Ma. No, Ma's not that bad. She just needs a lot of help.
I have 2 predictions today. Do you want to talk about my predictions?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Prediction 1. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Prediction sheet form. 45 people will die in Chicago in October. Well, do you remember when I made that a month ago?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
do remember that.
Why was my prediction made? Shootings in that urban areas don't get garner national attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason it was a story is because 59 people were shot and killed in Chicago in September. And I said, well, there will be 45 in October and it won't even be on the news.
Mm-hmm.
So before we started the show today, I'm trying to do research how many people died of gun violence, in October. So I go to Chicago Tribune, they track it, right?
Let me
And
take a guess.
the Iron Mountain site blocked me.
Oh, really?
It said it was not the
What?
proper use. And even though I didn't go to the site, I still have their internet feed because it's the office.
Yeah.
And then I tried to go to a different site just to get gun violence statistics, and it blocked me there. And apparently it was not 59, or else it would have been another big story, 2 months in a row. So this is a push. So what I'm going to do is one of my predictions I'm going to put off for one more week. I'm going to put 11, 10, 15. And all we're doing is pushing this for 1 week so I can go home and research the correct numbers, because I can't get the correct numbers here. Because either I can't find it or it's blocked. Okay? Well, that goes back to what we talked about last week with what do you block? Well, if I'm looking up crime statistics in Chicago, they're probably like, oh, well, we don't want them to know the crime statistics in Chicago because of the strike. We don't talk about strikes here. So,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of a weird thing to block,
yeah.
They
Yeah.
block a lot of weird stuff. I forgot I was just looking up the other day and they blocked me. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, and it's random. There's no rhyme or reason because we were talking about what's blocked, what's not, and I can go say I go to a Russian site or a Great British site, I can get on almost anything because nobody goes there. It's like they specifically
Yeah.
look for stuff high traffic blocks like ESPN
Yeah.
or Ohio Lottery, the ones that always block. Every time I forget every time. I'm like, oh, just go to ESPN.
Yeah.
Star Wars. That's what it was. I wanted to see the new Star Wars trailer. I looked up real quick and they blocked me.
You went to
I'm like,
see
are you serious? So you know what I did?
what?
I went to YouTube. It allowed me on YouTube and I watched it there.
Well, that's the whole thing. You can if you're. We probably shouldn't say this because they probably aren't because it's not like they're going to listen.
Yeah.
But they have a YouTube page, and the YouTube page gets the same amount of hits as we do. Okay, for
Who
the
has
company.
a YouTube page?
Oh, Iron Mountain.
Do they really?
Yeah, they. If you want to learn all about our business line, you can go to Iron
Of what's
Mountain on
left.
YouTube, and they have high-produced things that they literally spend thousands of dollars on, and it says like 58 hits from 6 months ago,
That's.
and it's like, and I'm like, I can get 58. Even loser me can get 58 hits.
Who do we get that job? I want that job.
We should apply for that.
I know.
Well, why don't you yell to our boss in the next room over and tell her you want to be the YouTube producer?
Productions. Something.
That would be so funny if you were the producer for the Iron Mountain
All of Iron
YouTube
Mountain.
page.
Yeah.
That'd be
I went
awesome.
through their Facebook page.
You'd be like, oh yeah, I'm the media. I'm
I'm
the,
like their producer for social media. There's a new job right there I just created.
producer of social media for the company.
Booyah!
You got now. Joe wasn't doing this because Joe was a good person, but we hired an LGBT gay, bi, transgender.
OBG, what, LeBron James?
No, we hired a LGBT manager for relating for any LGBT employees we might have.
You lost me.
Yeah, when was this?
A couple weeks ago, you guys don't
What
remember
is
me?
that? The lesbian, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
Lesbian, gay, transgender.
So that person is all of that?
Yeah.
So it's a lesbian, gay, transgender person?
No, they're not. But you remember I told you you should be that manager. You
I
could
want
be
that
the
job.
You
Unless
could
it's
be
like
the-
some hot lesbians. And that wouldn't be so bad.
You'd be like, you're gonna have to go to San Francisco and counsel young hot lesbians who are trying to find their way in life.
Sign me up.
We need a gong, like on the Gong Show, instead of
there.
having a rim shot.
Oh, it's tied in there.
Well, you can untie him. I was just being lazy. So that was
Well,
prediction.
no, that
one.
would kind of suck though, because then you wouldn't get any though, because they're lesbians though.
Oh, haven't you ever met anybody who thought that they could turn people from the other team? Remember Ted Coley? Everything goes back to Seinfeld. What was the episode where
No, but I
Elaine?
had a friend who I had some chicks that turned into lesbians. It's funny because a couple of my friends used to date them.
Jeffrey had a girlfriend who once she dated Jeffrey, she'd switch teams. But didn't Elaine? Wasn't
Yeah.
she trying to
Yeah.
make him change teams?
Yeah, she dated a guy who was.
And then at the end, she's like, "I don't use the equipment as much as they do."
Yeah.
Because everything goes back to Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
It does, doesn't it? Isn't that funny how that works?
And then my other prediction was a personal. It said that my favorite person.
No, that don't work.
I think
All that for
you have to
nothing.
hold the wood parts and then just the symbol.
I don't know. I give up.
See, we have a box of props that I haven't used yet because I'm still feeling out. I feel like I'm yelling the whole time.
Like
Oh,
this thing.
let's see. Hey, that's perfect because you don't touch the metal. You use the string, and that sounded good. Good, let's try again.
Oh no, that don't sound.
Yeah, you have to hold the string. There you go.
Sounds like church. You know, they used to do that in church.
You could do that in church, and you could say, "Young lesbians, come to Joe's altar."
Young lesbians. Yeah, I don't know if I want that job.
But we have the other one was I was positive that the person I don't get along with did not have jury duty on Friday, but he was going to try and get paid for it. But he did have jury duty, so I was wrong on that prediction. So
You miss him?
no, I don't miss him.
No.
I'm telling you, he's probably going to call at 8 a.m. and go, "Oh, I have jury duty."
Wouldn't that be funny for like the next month? He was stuck on there.
That would be hilarious. Because, like I said, it's like it's like when he comes in and goes, "Oh, it's Christmas next week. I need off." Yeah, you can plan Christmas years out.
So is he going to be here tomorrow?
I assume so. To my knowledge, people haven't said he's not going to be here.
That's crazy. You imagine you're being charged with something and he's one of the jurors.
Oh yeah, that would be horrible. I must as well
People
just off
lock me
myself.
up now.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go if I saw the
Just
guy
grab
we're
the
talking
cop's
about.
gun and just shoot yourself right there in the
Yeah.
courtroom.
Yeah, I'm gonna be taking the sheets and I'm gonna be tying them to the lampshade or whatever and jumping off the
Silly.
chair. Because I mean I'm screwed anyhow.
Oh,
If he's
yeah.
on the jury, somehow they'll find a way to make me pay twice the penalty I was supposed to.
Yeah. Or being stuck on a jury with him.
Oh,
You can always see all the evidence again.
I saw all the evidence, but I'm really confused by it. Can we walk through it a seventh time?
No, what do you mean he shot the guy in the face? Can I see the photos? I need to see everything on that.
Well, that's the whole thing. Ted, you did jury duty last year, and you're not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
And you are sealed to secrecy. You're on grand jury duty for 16 months.
You're still on that?
No, I'm
Oh.
done with that.
But I mean,
God.
month to month, they were like, it was like clockwork. They're like, you need to be here, and they tell you a month ahead of time what days
oh
and
yeah,
times.
yeah, they would tell. Yeah.
They didn't wing it day by day. They
No.
weren't like, oh, well, let's see how it's going. I mean, they literally, it was almost like a surgery schedule where they locked your day down to the minute.
Usually it's just a week, so yeah, I know he probably got stuck on a trial, I bet you.
Yeah, he did.
Case.
He did.
Because usually it's just a week, and if they don't use you, usually they let you go.
Yeah. And that's why I was stunned that he still had jury duty on
Yeah,
Friday.
because he's probably stuck on trucks. He probably didn't know how to get out of it. They can get out of.
What? You can try and get off of jury duty?
All right, we don't need you. Get out of here. And you go sit back and you wait in the waiting pool.
Yeah, he's like I said, I can't believe he didn't get out of it, and he's still in it on Monday. So, like I said, I was wrong about that. And again, I think I'm doing bad on my predictions. So,
Maybe he got stuck on a murder trial and he'll be on there for like 3 months.
oh,
Well, you don't have to see him for 3 months.
yay! I never thought of that.
Once you work the weekend.
I'm telling you, if he gets stuck on jury duty for 3 months, it's not going to be that long before he's like, I work weekends.
I can't work the weekend.
I can't work weekends because I work all week on jury. We're going to have to come up with some accommodations here. I give that 1 week. If it lasts more than one more week, he's already talking about that. I guarantee it.
You think?
Oh yeah, I know so.
Well, if they what's the word, sequester?
Yeah.
That means you're there the whole time,
Yeah,
right?
you're
like
there.
even on the weekends, right?
Well, no, you're
Or
sequestered.
are you allowed to go home?
You're sequestered Monday through Friday. You're in the motel, and then I think on the weekends you can go home, but you can't even talk about it with your spouse, which people lie and they do anyhow.
Yeah.
But since you don't have a spouse, Ted, you should tell us, and we won't tell anybody.
Yeah.
We'll keep
All the
our
fun
secrets, right?
stories.
Right, Joe?
Yeah, I won't say anything.
I was on jury duty when I was 19 for a DUI. And, going back to, marijuana and drinking. I remember the lawyer, clear as day. And he goes, they were trying to see whether I would be on the jury.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, do you drink, sir? And I said, no.
No, you should have said yeah a lot.
Well, I should have. But he goes, sir, why don't you drink? Are you very religious? And I said, no, I'm 19.
I thought you were going to say, are you a pussy?
That would have been funnier.
What's wrong with you?
But I said, no, sir, I'm
What, are
only
you
19.
scared?
Yeah, are you scared to drink? I said, no, sir, I'm only 19. And the judge just cracked up laughing like it was the funniest joke he ever heard. And the lawyer's like, fine, you're on the jury.
Oh my gosh. And the judge was even laughing.
Yeah. And, judges don't laugh. And, the guy's all
You was thinking
flustered.
that's the age you start drinking. Or you live in Brook Park, it's like 12.
But
I got stealing my dad's Blatz at like 12 years old.
you'd say, oh, man, that's bad. I don't drink, and even I know that's a bad beer.
Yeah, that was a bad beer. I don't know how you drank that.
But I should have said what Ted said. I should have told the judge that.
Oh yeah, I'm a raging alcoholic. I drink and drive all the time. I got a flask right now.
I was so afraid when I went on that first jury duty when I was 19. I'm like, he's gonna find me in contempt. And I had another older guy. In retrospect, he was probably my age.
Yeah.
In his mid 40s, and he was falling asleep. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna find him in contempt.
Yeah.
They're gonna kick him
I
off.
fell asleep. I got called on one. I was on one case. And now
Were you?
Yeah. Now if I get called, I work the system and I know how to get out of it. And just, you say whatever. And you get out of it. But yeah, I fell asleep during the case. We had to watch videos because I think it was a workman's comp thing. Workman comp case, and we were watching the video from the doctors. I fell asleep. They're like an hour long. I'm like, I don't even care.
Did you wake up going, guilty, 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 sir?
The judge sitting there poking me in the head, hitting me in the head with a mallet. Wake up, idiot.
Sir, we're still deliberating.
Yeah. You need to stay awake for this.
Did you ever fall asleep, Ted? Did you ever feel like you were gonna fall asleep?
Yeah.
That's
And I was
boring.
I was really
boring.
surprised because I usually don't have that problem, but
I didn't know you were allowed to bring coffee in with you. You were allowed to bring coffee in
yeah,
with
yeah,
you?
I think so. I didn't,
But
but
I did, because I needed something to stay awake, man.
yeah, because I remember getting like a pop or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Something.
so yeah, we could.
Because I'd be nodding off. One time I'd wake up was when I started falling out of my chair.
Yeah, I was really having a hard time. There were a lot of times where I felt like I was going to fall asleep.
Were you eating a banana sexily so the
No,
the
no.
hot lesbians would?
There was no nothing in that courtroom. Nothing. What's funny, the one lawyer, we had their law firm as an account.
Oh really?
Yeah, because he asked me, he's like, would you decide either way? Would you decide with me? Because, we use you guys as a store and whatever. I'm
Right.
like, no, I really don't care.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be here, honestly.
Yeah, I don't want to be. See that, but that honesty is very refreshing.
You know, you think they would throw me off the case after that,
Yeah.
right? Saying, "Oh, well, I don't know because I don't care, and I really don't care about the case."
Yeah.
But no, they kept me on there.
No, I have somebody on my wife's side of the family. They said in order to get out, you got to go in there and be a racist.
Yeah, even though you aren't, that's what you got to do.
Yeah, just act like one, and now get you off.
I mean,
the
you
case.
get the dirty look faces, and then you walk out. You got to tell me, "No, I'm really not a racist. I just did it because I didn't want to sit in that
Yeah.
freaking courtroom for a whole fucking week or two."
Yeah.
You know. Or if they're like, "Hey, do you know anyone as a police officer? You know, if it's a criminal charge, of course you say
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the police officers all the time? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the police are always right.
Of course
I've
the
never known
police
one to
are
be
right.
wrong ever.
Yeah. And they throw you out. They see you later.
You hardly break the law.
No.
You're
not-
animated.
Not animor.
You're animated, but I know you're a good person.
Not anymore. Oh, I could tell you some stories. We had some fun times. Only if I had a time machine. I could go back in time and tell myself straighten up, and do better in school.
Yeah, and guess what? I did straighten out, and I did do decent at school. And look, me and you are on the same
Listen,
page.
we're same-
We're
same
making about the
path.
same amount of money.
Same path, right?
So don't
It
worry
doesn't
about
matter
going
what you
back. You ain't.
So you guess you're telling me there was no
It's not
hope.
like you were gonna be a doctor. No offense.
There was no hope for me anyways. I might as well continue down that path. Then maybe I could become like a big time drug dealer. I could have been a drug kingpin.
Oh,
I
yeah,
could be rich right now. I could have been like Pablo Escobar,
Pablo Escobar.
right?
Yeah, we're gonna have you talk about Colombia, like I talk about Russia every week. You're gonna be talking about Colombia every week.
Yeah.
Man, I miss my calling. I could have had my own cocaine cartel. Man, I wish I was.
I'm gonna be a big cocaine distributor.
But you know what? I didn't do any drugs when I was in college. But even me and my friend.
That's amazing. Like nothing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Did you go to like a Catholic college or something?
No, I just went to Cleveland State, and the whole thing was I would go to school all day, and then I went to work all evening. I didn't have any time to do anything.
Oh, I never had time to do anything by fun time.
You make
Even
time
during
for that.
work, right?
So you went to school during the day, and then you worked 40 hours in the evening.
I'm trying. Oh yeah, I worked at. Remember Sun TV?
Sun TV. Oh my lord.
Oh my god, we used to. Man.
My understanding is they went bankrupt because you worked there. Didn't you just like sell TVs for $20 out the
Out
back
the back
door?
door,
and stuff?
literally out the back door.
Maybe we should check and make sure the statute of
Oh,
limitations.
we should, because I shouldn't be saying anything.
You can't steal from a company that doesn't
The-
exist anymore.
The
right?
statute of
right? I
limitations.
mean, it doesn't exist anymore. So who's gonna come after me?
Yeah, but yeah. So when I was working part time or working full time and going to school full time. So I was a big dork. Are you leaving?
You're leaving us, Jenny?
You don't want to come and be on our webcast too?
You do it weekly?
Yeah.
I'll sit in on the next
You
one.
could sit in on the next one.
Yeah.
We're sorry. We know you had a long week. You worked 12 hours
No,
yesterday.
it's not. I have to meet. My vet is actually meeting me with X-rays on a disc by my house because I have to take my dog in to see the specialist.
That's
For the
so
gallbladder?
nice.
Yeah, for the stones. So that's why I probably won't be here tomorrow.
That's so nice.
Good
that you-
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck. I hope all your animals are
Oh
okay.
yeah, when I get a bill for $5,000,
Oh.
or who knows?
You
I
just
know,
just
it's
make your boyfriend pay for it.
Yeah, there you go.
Make a GoFundMe account for your dog.
Yeah,
There
go
you
Me and my dog.
Moving mountains, right?
Yeah.
Cujo.
There you go.
Go fund Jen's dog.
Well, you guys have fun.
Thanks. You have a great night.
Looking forward to listening to you guys on the podcast later.
Well, yeah, but we're gonna have to clean up the quality of the sound, but yeah, we
Yeah,
finally
my
got
side,
Joe in
so-
here.
I know. I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, it's because I don't want to go home.
You don't want to go home?
I don't blame you. Next time we could go see a movie. I mean, not podcast night, but
Yeah.
You ever? Ted,
I
you
like
ever?
this little kid of instruments.
Ted, you ever watch Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the mom's name? Barbara Billingsley?
Yeah.
I don't know why Joe doesn't want to go
Oh.
home. Isn't your wife wearing the dress with the apron waiting to greet you at the door? Oh, Joey, I made dinner.
It's June Cleaver, right?
Yeah, June
June
Cleaver.
Who doesn't like June, right?
Yeah, she's.
I wish I had
She's
the
hot.
June Cleaver.
I wish I had a June Cleaver at home.
You know,
How much easier would life be if you had a woman that cooked and cleaned for
nice
you,
clean
right?
house, nice hot
Nice-
dinner
yeah.
on the
Well,
table,
yeah,
waiting
that's the whole
for
thing.
you.
You need a June Cleaver because
I need
you're
a
the
June
boss.
Cleaver. Yeah, I want a June Cleaver. I don't want to cook and clean. I want to come home and be like,
Sit down, eat your meal.
yeah, it's on the table. Have your clothes pressed for you in the morning. You don't even have to do anything.
Have a drink waiting for you as you
Yeah.
walk out
That's
the
kind of how
door.
Neil has it, isn't it?
Don't,
Yeah.
You don't have a dry. Your boyfriend doesn't make a dry martini, shaken not stirred when you get home.
No, I don't think he even knows I walk through the door when I get home. He's
Doesn't even
playing
know
his
you're home.
game. Oh, he's like, when did you get here?
What time did you get home?
See, my kids are an age where when I walk home, they know I walk in because they're like, "We're starving. Did you do the webcast? We're starving."
Yep, fun time. But you guys have fun with the rest of this.
Thanks.
And just FYI, you're inside tomorrow unless there's
Okay.
call off or something.
Okay, that's no
Send
problem.
Dave an email. He can do his own route tomorrow.
Okay.
Cool.
Just for the
Good times.
record, I'm
Shoot
going to
'em a
cover.
text.
I'm going to cover the microphone. I'm sorry for dead air, but it's not like we have that many listeners yet. He said he wasn't coming in tomorrow either. Just
Well,
so you know.
That's what I heard, but
We'll see. You never know.
Maybe
Maybe
you
never
text
know.
him and tell him he might come in then. Like, oh, I'm doing route 3, I'll come in.
it is the night after a football game.
that's true.
Oh, I forgot all
See?
about that.
See, you guys.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
you know
like a big brain on bread.
I got a text from my girlfriend. We're watching the Brownies if you want to come. I'm like, oh no, they go all the time. It's like
I don't even care.
they're, you
My
probably
friend
love
will
that.
text me and be like, "Oh, you want to go to the bar and watch the Browns?" No, I don't want to waste 4 hours.
You have 4 hours and $40 on wings and beer.
Well, if you don't mind me changing the subject, because that's a great Jen, you have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
If you don't mind me segueing, Ted doesn't make that many predictions, Joe, because he's the counterbalance, but I talk over him, and I apologize to Ted. We still have to find our balance. But Ted said he wants to make a prediction about the Browns tonight. Tonight, in the National Football League, we live in Cleveland, and all they talk about is the Browns on every radio
Johnny
station. Is that fair?
Manziel.
Johnny Manziel is making
Johnny
his
Manziel.
first scheduled start. The other start was because of injury, right? This is the first scheduled start, right?
I think so.
Ted, what is your prediction for Johnny Manziel's first scheduled start against the Cincinnati Bengals? The Browns are 2-5, 2-6,
2-6.
and the Bengals are 7-0.
Yeah.
Correct.
You said you had a prediction.
I
What is your
have
prediction?
A prediction. I predict that the Browns will win 37-24.
Okay,
Really?
I'm writing this down. Ted says Browns 37.
I'll take that bet. You want to bet on that?
No, I don't want that money. I'm not that
Come on.
confident.
37-24.
honey.
Okay, go ahead.
And that Johnny Manziel will shine.
J. Manziel will shine.
I think he's gonna run for his life.
But then he's going to get pulled over after celebrating and get a DUI. And he'll have to go back into rehab immediately.
Okay, so
So it'll be short-lived.
today is I'm writing this down because that is a. Oh, my wife is texting too. She's probably like, "When are you coming home? Are we waiting for you to?" Yes.
Or
Yes.
he'll get drunk and beat up his girlfriend.
It is funny because I literally told Jen 30 seconds ago that my kids are yelling that they're eating. Then my wife sends me a text that says, "When are we eating?"
When are we eating? When are you bringing home something?
Yeah, go ahead.
And also, in rehab, he'll meet a girl and they'll become the new Sid and Nancy.
The new Sid and Nancy. Okay, I'm writing all this down. Not only will they win, but by Steelers game, he will be in trouble with substances. By Steelers game, in trouble with substances.
Or beat up his girlfriend.
Or beat up his girlfriend.
Because maybe he'll do so bad his girlfriend will start making fun of
Well,
him.
that's the whole thing. We joke around about beating up his girlfriend, but the nationwide audience doesn't know.
He didn't even beat her up, did he?
No, he didn't beat her up.
What do you say? Pushed her head against the windshield or the
Yes,
window?
but
Did he even do that? Who believes that?
the whole thing was she was drunk, he wasn't. Okay?
Bitch.
So his argument was she was drunk, she tried to get out of the car on 90, And so he said, listen, she was drunk and I grabbed her so she wouldn't get out of a moving car on 90.
Yeah.
And the cop said, have you been drinking? And she's like, oh, blah, yeah. Right? So it was plausible to the cop, even though he's famous and she's not, it was plausible that that's what happened.
Yeah.
And when they did
There's no issue.
yeah, so there's no issue. And they said, did you beat her head on the window? And he said, well, I accidentally banged her head on the window to keep her from going out of the car. And he didn't arrest her, or he didn't arrest him because it was plausible that he didn't hit her.
Yeah.
And if he did hit her, he would have been in the jail. And that was the whole argument. Did he get off too light? Did he get off too heavy? He talked to the NFL, and the story stuck that she was drunk and he was looking out for her safety and he just grabbed her. So when we joke around about him beating on her, the story in the paper was, did he beat her? And what constitutes being beat? Was he really trying to help her? Or did he really beat the crap out of her? And she said, no, he didn't hit me.
He's like, damn right I beat her up. You know who I am? I'm Johnny Manziel.
I'm Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Football.
I'm Johnny mother effing football.
I am going to beat her some more, and you're not going to do anything about it.
Keep on talking back to me. I'm gonna beat you too.
And he waved a wad of cash at the Avon cop.
He just
and said,
threw the wad at him.
yeah, he threw the money at the cop. He goes, "You won't
slapped
do
him in the
nothing."
face with it. Like, take that, copper. You know who I am?
Well, that's the whole thing. I'm surprised they even, because cops, they get hassled, and I was kind of surprised that they gave him, the break, that they didn't at least, take him in. But then they said he lived in Avon, right?
Yeah, he lived the same development as what's his face, that radio show guy in the morning.
Oh,
Rover.
Rover?
Yeah, he lives at that Red Tail golf course.
Yeah, but Rover had those problems with the cops a year or two ago.
I don't even know what it is. I don't know.
So, yeah.
When
So
he beat up that cop, or
yeah.
when they say they beat up that cop, you look at that dude, like, the dude could beat up anybody.
Rover
See that,
can't.
dude?
Rover he's not one of the better ones.
But yeah, you would think though, like J.T. Barrett got busted for a DUI.
Yeah.
You think those cops would have let him go, especially being down in Columbus.
Oh yeah.
He'd be like, oh no, that's cool. Just give him back my cop car. I'll take you home.
Jameis Winston, when he was at Florida State, that guy, who knows what he was doing? He was a one-man crime spree, and they're like, "Hey, you're the starting quarterback of FSU.
Yeah.
You can do whatever the hell you want."
Yeah.
So I'm putting the prediction: 37-24 Browns. Johnny Manziel shines, but then he's in trouble. Okay.
Right.
My prediction. I'm gonna piggyback your prediction. Is that okay?
So you're doing a prediction on tonight's game, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say. I think they're gonna lose 52-10, and Johnny Manziel will get a concussion. He will not finish the game. He will be relieved by, who's the third stringer? Austin Powers?
Austin
Powder?
Austin Powers.
Austin Miles? I know it's Austin Davis. Austin Davis.
Austin.
Concussion. Okay. So you have big win and substance abuse problems. I have big loss and a concussion. Do you have a prediction for the game tonight?
I think they will win.
You think they will win?
They will sign LeBron James, and he will be quarterback, and they will score like over 100 points. With
You think LeBron is going to play?
Yeah, you're going to have like 10 touchdowns.
Okay, now Joe is messing with us, but Joe used to have season tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Now, my prediction is they're going to lose. They're going to get their ass kicked.
Okay, they're good. Okay.
I agree with you. Johnny Manziel will go out hurt.
Okay,
And Austin Powers and Mini-Me.
With injury.
Quarterback.
Loss with injury. But, and again, because I don't do anything big dork, okay? Ted, did you ever have season tickets?
No.
How many Browns games have you been to in your life?
Man, it's probably about 5.
Yeah, I was going to say I've been to about 5. And you had season tickets for like 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Joe's a much more hardcore Browns fan than we are.
Used to be, but now the older I get, the more I don't care.
Well, yeah, you don't care because they lose like crazy.
Well,
they
I don't
lose
think
for 10.
even if they won.
If you lose for 10 years.
Like last year when the Cavs were doing good, I'm like, I really don't care because my life sucks and I still have to wake up and go to my job and work for pennies on the dollar and barely survive. And these guys are playing a kid's sport, getting paid billions and millions of dollars.
Not to change the subject, but I agree from the Browns. But the Cavs, when they went to the finals, I was having a lot of trouble like cheering for the Cavs. I'm like, who cares?
Like I'd watch the games. The games were interesting, but I'm like, sometimes I would just go to bed because I'm like, I'm not staying up till 12 o'clock to watch this game.
Yeah, I really thought I'd be more into it than I was. I really wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little, but
And I think a lot of people felt that way too, because it was really strange how close they were, and it's like people just didn't seem to
I mean,
care
they
that
were
much.
close.
they were
or,
2 games away from a
or
championship.
they were
nothing.
so used to Cleveland's. Maybe Cleveland's just so used to being losers
Yeah.
that they figured they were going to lose anyway. So why watch? Why
Yeah.
bother?
Yeah, maybe they need somebody to break the jinx. But I'm writing this down, and this one I'm folding up 11, 12, 15. So that's our next one. 11, 12, 15.
When do you think Ray Farmer and Mike? What the hell was his last name?
Well, that's where I'm going next. Is my next
Patton?
prediction. Okay, on the trading deadline. Okay, on the trading deadline, I was listening to the radio, right? And they're going crazy on the radio, okay? And 2 of the biggest names in radio in Cleveland are Tony Rizzo in the morning on KNR and Mike Trevisano on TAM in the
You
afternoon.
talk about beating up wives. There you go.
Yeah, Rizzo
Okay.
Rizzo got in a lot of trouble for that. But both of them, they both said on the trading deadline, and I wrote it down, this is their predictions. They said Ray Farmer ain't going to be here at the end of the year. That he will be fired within a week of the season ending. Okay, why was the prediction made? Both Triv and Riz made. Now they're arguably 2 of the biggest sports guys in Cleveland. Would you say that's
Yeah.
fair?
Yeah.
Well, do they know? Are they speculating? Have they already seen the movie? Do they know how Jimmy Haslam thinks? What brings them to this conclusion? Now I think they suck, and I think they're probably going to get fired. But that's me speculating. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Do they know something that we don't know?
No, they're just guessing like everybody else.
So they said that they ain't going to be here. Both, now, I'm going to say, just to do the opposite, after that press conference where they said we're going to stay the course, I really think they're going to keep them.
I think so.
I think they're going to keep.
Because I don't think nobody's going to come here.
Well,
Who
yeah,
are we going to get?
yeah, because it's the old analogy of who else are you going to get for this crappy
I
job?
mean, I'm sure somebody will take the job just because of the money. They're going to throw an outrageous number, and eventually somebody will take just because how much money they're going to get paid.
Yeah,
Hey, the team's so crappy. I'll work 2 years and I get paid for 6.
yeah. So I think they're going to keep the GM and the coach. Those 2 said they're not. But like I said, whether they do or don't, they'll say, "Oh no, I knew they would," or "I knew they wouldn't." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
so
they're
they
always
both
right.
said Ray Farmer and Patton.
Yeah, they're both gone at the end of the year. They said they're going to clean house.
I think I think radio sucks in Cleveland.
Well, it does.
Because you have what's his face. He's saying, "Oh, Johnny Manziel sucks. Why are they drafting? Johnny Manziel sucks. He sucks. He sucks." Then when they played him that one game where he did he threw
Where he
300
won.
yards, whatever.
Yeah, he
had
won.
A great game.
What, 2
Johnny
bombs?
Manziel, how can you not start him? He's so great. You have to put him in. You can't start McCown. Why would you sit Manziel? He's a good quarterback. It's like, dude, you were just dogging him like the whole entire year,
Yeah,
saying
they-
how shitty he was.
4-hour shows every day saying how crappy Johnny Manziel
Gotta
is.
get rid of him. Gotta get rid of him. He's no good. Blah blah blah.
Every single day on KNR. Every single day.
So was that Rizzo?
Yeah. And then, to top it all off, I'm listening to trade deadline because all I'm hearing all day long is, we're trading one of the Browns. One of the Browns is getting traded, right?
Yeah.
So I listen all day long. No Browns got traded. Aaron Goldhammer, which is something else we're going to talk about, he reported at 3:59 that Joe Thomas was traded. Not he thought he was going to be traded, that he was traded.
Yeah.
At 3:59, he said Joe Thomas was traded for a first and second round draft pick. We send Joe Thomas in the 4th round to Denver for a first and second round draft pick. He says ESPN reports, I'm reporting it, I'm part of ESPN. And then at 4:15, he had to walk it back.
Yeah.
Well, I made a mistake. And then he didn't even say he made a mistake. Okay, so number one, we're gonna count this as 2 things. From now on, I am gonna write this down. Aaron Goldhammer is now my enemy. He's got to be the worst. My goal is to be a better broadcaster than Aaron Goldhammer. That guy is horrible. Okay, and then number 2, I say they're going to keep the GM and coach. Maybe I'll send a email to Aaron to see what his prediction is. What's your prediction so I can write it down and fold it up?
About the coaches?
Yeah, coach and GM, are they going to keep them or are they firing them at the end of the year?
I say they'll keep them.
Okay, Ted says keep both. Says keep both. Joe, what do you say?
I don't
At the end
know,
of the year.
man. If they keep on playing the way they're playing, I know you can't.
If they're 4-12, what do you think?
Coach can't play for the players. I mean, you have what you have. I mean, he has to show like he means business, and the people that aren't playing, he's gonna have to get rid of them and just show like, hey, we're not messing around. You guys aren't playing. You guys ain't producing. You're out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't do that and he doesn't do anything and just keeps going the way he's going, they're gonna get rid of him. I mean,
So you think they're getting rid of both?
if he doesn't make some changes.
Let's just say they go 4-12. If they go 4-12, they get, because right now they're 2-6.
Yeah, they have to get the axe.
Okay, if they go 4-12, I'll write down that disclaimer under the assumption that they don't go 6-2, which they
Yeah.
won't, but
I don't see them winning.
both go. Okay, that prediction is for the 2 weeks after the season, because basically the Super Bowl 50 is on Valentine's Day. So I'm going on the record to say that they're going to keep them around
for another year.
Oh yeah, even if they go 4-12, but they play Johnny Manziel, I really think that Jimmy Haslam is in love with Johnny Manziel. Okay, and everybody who didn't like Johnny Manziel is gone. The offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan,
Yeah.
he didn't like Johnny Manziel. They got rid of him and kept Johnny Manziel. Joe Thomas in every interview says Josh McCown should be the starter. They tried to trade him.
Yeah.
Right? The quarterback's coach who was drinking with Johnny Manziel, he's gone,
Yeah.
but he was part of the problem. Everybody, they got Johnny Manziel in a cocoon, and everybody who's not on board with Johnny Manziel, like who's the tight end that signed with Miami?
Oh.
Jordan Cameron.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Cameron said, we need stability at quarterback. I'm going to go to Miami. And they're like, see you in Miami.
Or maybe he's just like, you guys suck. I'm out of here.
Or that could be too.
I'm gonna go play where it's nice and warm.
Because he thought Johnny sucked.
I mean, then they don't show us what he could do because they don't want to start him. What are they waiting for? What are they waiting for?
Oh, well, they're starting him this week. That's why we made the prediction. And that's why Ted's prediction made me laugh. Because he thinks he's going to win, and then he's going to go get high or drunk. Because, again...
How funny would that be? He just, smashes his Range Rover.
Well, but that's the whole thing.
At the airport, he gets off the plane stumbling.
J.T. Barrett did the same thing. He finally gets the Ohio State starting job. You are the starter, J.D. Barrett. 1 week later, he's got DUI, and he's out as starter. 1 week later. I agree with Ted. I could feasibly, except for the winning part, I could feasibly see the rest
So
of
you
the
think
one
he's
day.
going to do terrible and we're going to lose, and he's going to do...
He still might do that. because he hasn't admitted what he did as the DUI. All right. I said we were going to wrap it around 5:30. My wife's going to text again. So anything we didn't finish, we will tie up next week. We're going to save the top 10s list for next week. This was something for me. Okay, we got to do one or two more sports things and I'll let you go. We're just going to skip all the way through. The Russian hockey team lost a bunch of games. Now they're, I think, third last. So our Russian hockey team that we adopted is in the toilet. So we got to talk about that. The other teams are still about where they were last week. Song of the day. Song of the day. We always pick a song of the day, even though we don't play one, because then we can't play it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's called Marijuana by Life After Life. It was on the 1997 Alternative Tentacle Sampler, The Virus and Wouldn't Die. And that song is hysterical, but I don't even know if you can Google it and find it. It's on a CD from 20 years ago, but it is rough. It sounds like somebody sang about how awesome marijuana was in their basement while there was a cloud of marijuana in the thing. It's not very professionally done. I might be the only person who brought it. You know what though? I kept hearing all week, all the smart aleck newscasters, they kept playing Afro Man because I got high.
Because I got high.
Because I got high.
Because I got high.
I
Because
didn't
got
do my
high.
homework because I got high. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna pick a marijuana song that no one ever heard of.
Yeah.
So I'm going off the board and picking song of the day is Marijuana by the band Life After Life. I don't even know if they recorded a whole album.
It was just their one hit.
They might have been a one-hit wonder, singing about marijuana in their
In
basement.
basement.
Yeah.
Using like instruments like this.
Aaron Goldhammer is officially my enemy. We'll save this for next week.
You should email him that.
I'm gonna say you are now my enemy
And you
because
suck.
and you got to think about who your enemy is. I know who Joe Kaufman's enemy is.
Really? You know, and I don't even know.
You know who
Who
your
is it?
enemy is. Your enemy is Mayor Coyne because he never shared alcohol with you. Wasn't he your coach?
No, he used to buy us drinks. Like
Oh,
a
he would
man.
buy you
Yeah,
drinks?
he used to go lantern in.
Okay, well then Mayor
underage.
Coyne can't be. I
You would go to
remember.
lantern in underage, and he was there, and he was by his beers. He didn't know you're underage.
Well, that's all. Everybody had. The funny thing is, I grew up in Brunswick, right? So everybody has a Mayor Coyne story because he was famous, right? And I remember being in a speedway when he was on probation after he was naked in the driveway, drunk.
Yeah.
Like a year later, I was in a speedway, and
He's doing coke bumps off.
oh
the
no,
bathroom
he's got a case of beer in his hand, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, "You're Mayor Coyne. You got a case of beer. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and how in the hell do you have a case of? At least I would send somebody else to go buy it." And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me like, "Who's this jerk kid looking at me?"
What's
Yeah.
your problem?
Yeah, what's your problem?
What's your problem? So I got a funny quick story about him.
Yeah, go
Mayor
ahead.
Coyne. We were going to, it was me and a couple of my buddies, and my one buddy, he grew up in Columbus.
Mhm.
We walk into, I think it was Chili's, and we run into Mayor Coyne there.
Uh-huh.
And he's at the bar getting drunk with his hot girlfriend. And we walk in, we walk over and say hi, and we do a shot with him or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, he knew all of us, from the
Right.
city. And my buddy Tony too. He's like, oh yeah. He looked at my buddy Tony, pointing at him. He's like, oh yeah, I remember you. I remember when you were just a little kid. He's like, I remember you. And it's funny because he starts laughing. He's like, that's funny because I grew up in Columbus. He's like, no, you didn't. I remember when you were a little kid. I'm just like, we're just sitting there just thinking like, this dude is he's bombed. Him and his girlfriend are bombed.
Yeah.
Out of their mind. So when we finally, all right, Mayor Coyne, whatever. See ya. Good night. Then we see them stumbling out like an hour later into their car, and he gets in his car and drives home. Like, unbelievable.
You know what? That brings up something else. Like, how many times do you think when he was mayor, not the second time, but the first time, how many times do you think he was drunk driving and they just said, oh, hey, Mayor Coyne, move along?
No, probably doing key bumps while he was driving. No, I don't know if he was. I'm just saying.
Allegedly.
Yeah, That guy is a trip, though, man. Only Brook Park would vote him back in.
Yes, that's why it's amazing. It's amazing that they voted him back in.
And then when people ask me where I'm from, I say Brook Park, and you say, oh, the mayor that was found drunk in the guy's driveway naked? I said, yep.
Yeah.
That's the city I live in.
Everybody know. I mean, it's not a secret. It's
Yeah.
everybody knows. You could east suburbs, west suburbs, down in Akron, they know.
Yeah.
And even when after he got caught in the driveway, he still worked for the Democratic Party. So people are like, "Oh, are you that guy?"
Mm-hmm.
So
That's funny. He still had jobs after that, too. I mean, he worked, I forgot what he worked for, what he did.
I think he worked for the county, but I
Yeah.
think he might have also worked for the Democratic Party and stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was behind the scenes. He had other jobs. It's not like he
He
faded
must have
away.
some money, because when he went to rehab, he went to that one expensive rehab out in
Oh yeah.
California.
Yeah, he went to he did not go to the rehab that
No.
any of us would be going to if we had a drug problem.
No.
He
not-
went to high end rehab.
Not the one over there on like East 198th and like Euclid.
Yeah, but allegedly, the speculation is I can't imagine anybody got more kickbacks in the 80s and 90s. Maybe number one would be Mayor White from Cleveland,
Yeah.
and then number two would have to be Coyne
the
from
Fed
Brook
should
Park.
fucking, instead of Demora, they should have looked up him.
Yeah, and they should have went down to the alpaca farm and figured out what was going on with Mayor White. That guy was holy cow.
Yeah. Him and Coyne raking in the dollars.
Yeah, and that they between the two of them, holy cow. But that's another subject for another day.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you very much. It was an honor doing the webcast with you.
Thank you.
Ted Coley, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great.
Ted, it's
I'm feeling
always
confident about my prediction.
it's always an honor to do the webcast with you. And I am Fred Hunt. We have a whole slew of predictions. I gotta look up the Chicago stats before I come in next week. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah, we should drink next one. We have the first drink on air.
I have no problems drinking on air, but we're not allowed to because it's not like we're on a radio station. We can drink on air.
Do
Yeah.
a
Because
Mayor
it's a
Coyne
webcast.
tribute show.
Yeah.
Every time we say the Cleveland
You can
Browns,
sponsor it.
we could every time we mention Coyne or the
Maybe
Cleveland
we
Browns.
can have him come in here.
Yeah. Coyne and Manziel. They could show us how to drink.
That'd be awesome. We call Mayor Coyne. Will you show up for our the Brook Park webcast? I don't think he'd have
Just
a
tell
good
him there's
time.
going to be beer here. I'm sure he'll.
Yeah, show him
That's
and Manziel.
free alcohol. They're both showing up. They're like, oh man, we got screwed by these dumbasses.
Free party.
Free party.